It's Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. It is Friday night. I'm here with Daniel Kalban. I think a lot of you may know him because he's actually quite popular lately. He has broken into the direct market with much success and gusto, and he is here on Blake's Buzz to talk about American Dreams. He's also got some other cool stuff up his sleeve, which I'm excited to talk about. He's been on the show a couple times before, but this is the first time I got him all alone now, guys. I can really squeeze the goods out of him. No, I'm kidding. Daniel, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And tonight, I do want, what's up, Ronan? Thanks for tuning in. I do want to let everybody know we are going to do a giveaway. I've got a sweet variant bundle of Band of Bards. They sponsored this giveaway. Unfortunately, we don't have a copy of Daniel's comic to give away. Why do we not have a copy? Because it's fucking sold out everywhere. They couldn't stay on the shelves. Like, that's just, I'm so happy for you, man. Like, after a great Kickstarter, you know, that after the trade did well and you know, you delivered it and fulfilled it and the trade was nice. So I couldn't afford the hardcover, but when you showed them online, those hardcovers look beautiful. But the trade paperback is gorgeous. It's so done well. You really did a good job on that. And then to go right off that into comic book shops with these new singles, new covers, working with Band of Bards. I'm really excited to talk about that, you know, relationship and just, you know, how cool it is that I'm just real happy for you. But anyways, if y'all want to tune in and maybe win some comics, here's what we're going to do. And when I figure out how, sorry, I've done this before, I swear to God. All right. So enter hashtag Jake Gold. And as the show goes on, we'll do a giveaway at the end. And, but yeah, if you want to enter, you have to do hashtag Jake Gold and you have to live where it's not expensive to ship to you. I'm a part-time worker now, so I can't afford to pay the $30 or whatever to send it across the world. So U.S. only. I apologize, but you know, enter that hashtag. Or if you want to pay for shipping, you know, we could, if you want to do that route, I'm cool with that. If you want to pay for the shipping, and I'll ship them out to you. But other than that, if you want it totally free, you gotta live in the good old US of A. just like Jake Gold, where shipping's cheap and the cost of freedom is high. What's up, David? Thanks for tuning in. I know I'm the worst. I'm sorry. But yeah, so Daniel, so good to have you. I'm so excited to start the weekend off chatting with you. And yeah, I've been a fan. I've been a fan of yours for a while. I think you're good people. I think you're, I love, you know, like a lot of people say that, you know, that they say that line, representation matters, right? But do they act on it? And a lot of times, no. It's things that are said, but not necessarily fought for. And I love that. And I said this in the review I wrote for American Dreams. Like, I love the culture and the background and the history and the tradition that you bring to American Dreams. And it's so well done and so, like, it's inspiring. Like, I wish more creatives would do that. I mentioned like Miss Marvel with G. Willow Wilson, and I saw that in her narrative as well. Like, you know, seeing how these families act, right? And it's like, you know, I have a close knit Italian Irish family, and we're all tight, you know, and we believe in the Sunday dinners, and you know, we're all pretty close and stuff. So like, it's not that family life is out of touch or foreign to me, right? But it's different. How it's how so many things are the same, but also like so many things are just different. Like, you know, prayer, food, the thing, you know, and the things that we do, how we act around each other, and how we treat like the elders in our family, which that seems to be something that's being lost as time goes by. Because you know, a lot of people don't have respect for anybody anymore. It feels like, especially, I don't know, like my dad aggravates the shit out of me, but I love him anyway. I respect him. Him, but I wish he'd write his fucking passwords down. And sometimes he does, and he writes so sloppy he can't read his own passwords and login information. And anyway,
my dad's puns are lethal. My dad's puns are weapons grade lethal. So.
But yeah, anyways, I love those little elements. What's up, Geek Collective? Happy to have you. I love those little moments that you include in American Dreams. And again, just all these elements you bring in and these big historical figures while altering history into your own narrative. Okay, so like this sounds like it was a difficult book to write because like the world was built, but you had to adjust it a little bit, right? So you have to orient us in history, and you have to change history a little bit. You have to implement these Jewish elements, right? Because you want to you want to celebrate the culture, but you can't do it too much, just as like because you don't want to like beat down the plot points. You want things to remain smooth and organic. So
Right,
like,
and it's certain.
how'd you do that?
Well, I had to basically say, okay, which things can I in history are like absolutes I cannot, alter whatsoever. There are events or future arcs down the line where it might be interacting with a major event, but you can't change the event. It's a major moment in American history. I won't say which because that's like several years from now. Spoiler. But like Houdini's 1900 tour, I have to work my way around that a little bit because he went on tour in Europe in 1900. So now I'm altering that little element of history. Though I'll kind of be lampshading it in Arc 2 a bit with him, or Arc 3 where you say, oh, he went on tour. So slight spoiler, but Houdini will be back in Arc 2. He just won't be in Arc 3. And like I forgot, okay, which historical figures do I want? Like obviously Edison, because the experiment. J.P. Morgan and Emma Goldman are great because they're opposite, voices. And also because this book was somewhat inspired. Like the idea was that came to me because I was listening to the soundtrack to Ragtime, which is set in 1906. It's very much in that same era, and it has historical figures pop up. But my brain was going, what if superheroes were in 19 that era? And that's when the light bulb went ding. So there's a slight, by coincidence, crossover by certain characters, historical figures showing up. They're in both my book and Ragtime, but it's just by, story-wise, much different use. So I'm not going to be sued by the doctoral estate. Okay. So those were you. Then I'm like thinking to myself, there needs to be another kind of baddie. Of course, you have to go with Aleister Crowley. Because he's such a great villain to write. Like I can write the most horrible, disturbing stuff with him.
Yeah, he commands the page too. Like he's very you have a great knack to keep him like over the top menacing. I love it.
Yeah,
it works really well.
Like he is a magically powered kind of Joker. Like if you guys have ever played Final Fantasy 6, he's Kafka. He's Kafka. He is dancing mad Kafka. And I actually really I've been outlining issues. I'm going to use the original numbering here because issue 4 for Band of Bards is the old issues 4 and 5 combined. So I'm going with what I call the old numbering.
Okay.
For my right and so issues 6 through 9 have been 6 through 7 have been drawn. 8 and 9 have been outlined. I have to outline 10. But I wrote a scene for Crowley, which I originally was going to do as a short for Arc 2, or for some I was planning to do a Secret Files kind of one shot.
Okay.
Which may not happen in the future. I don't know. And it's a really disturbing sequence with Crowley and a priest because Crowley is going to be an asshole. And then I said, let's move this into the arc as a part of a frame tale of that story leading into the big fight for Arc 2. Because Crowley's going to cause some chaos by preying on everyone's bigotry.
Now, when you're mentioning Arc 2 and Arc 3, which is exciting, and I knew you were going to do more. I think most of us who follow you know that you're not done by any means with this story. But now that you are in the direct market, now that you're partnered up with Band of Bards, are you going to do the same thing? Are you Arc 2? Is it going to start on Kickstarter? Are you going to crowdfund it first to help pay for art and stuff?
I'm going to talk to them about that still because I still have to get 6 and 7 colored, lettered, and covered. So I have to get that at least a chunk of that done first before we decide on what to do with that. But it's on the table. I'll say that openly. It's on the table. I just need to do the conversation.
That's exciting. And yes, I like how David brought this up. But it is a Jewish. and unfortunately, like a lot of them were taken advantage of with their rights and just like handled very poorly. But yes, like a lot of these great iconic characters that we still adore today are only here because of some geniuses that were Jewish that like were great with a pen and pencil. And yeah, if that I don't even know where comics would be without it. So it's crazy, like just how influential you all were to comic book making. And it's
And can we get DC or Marvel to acknowledge it? No.
that's it. At least it's not an attack on Jews though, because they don't acknowledge anybody, no matter what what color, religion, or background they have. It's just like they every now and then they'll throw a couple names in the credits, but I mean, I don't understand why why this is an issue. Like the other day, like after the I hate that I'm excited for the new Batman Flash movie because I think I don't think his behavior should be rewarded, right? Yeah, like but anyways, the trailers are great, and at the end of the new trailer, an ad pops up in the trailer, and it shows like, hey, if this looks cool, it was based on these comics, and
Yes,
you can
I
read
love that.
these. I know. I was like, this should be done all the time. I mean, like, I think movie theaters should have. I mean, like put comic book stands at movie theaters. Like when people leave the movie or go into the movie, like be able to buy these comics at the counter. I know that's maybe harder to do than normal, but I
know there's a United Artists Theater, which I think is part of the Regal chain. So I think it's a subset of Regal in Sheepshead Bay here in Brooklyn, where we would go, my dad and I would go to the big superhero film, and on the way out, some local comic shop had a pop up.
That's cool. That's cool. See, I feel like if I had a comic, I used to want to have a comic book shop. I used to have a friend named Blake. We were two Blakes. We both read comics, and we wanted to do like a Blake's comic shop, but not a possessive Blake's. It was the dual Blake's, right? And so like,
right.
And that we talked about that when we were younger, and of course it obviously never happened. And but like that, I think that's what you have to do to survive. Like, look at what a lot of these shops did during COVID when they started doing like curbside pickups, when they started shipping like to out of state and in town customers, and like, just like the customer service element really got beefed up during lockdown so that some of these shops could survive. And the ones that changed their day to day are the ones that ended up being okay. Right.
Yeah,
but it's interesting that more people don't do that. Like if you were a comic book shop, reach out to call your theaters and be like, hey, would you let us like do a pop-up shop, and like have a table at the movie premiere and like make a deal and get some cosplayers in there. It'd be good. It's good for the movie theater. It'd be good for the comics. It's good for the fans. It's funny that, and I know it's all extra work, right? And I know we all get busy. We were talking about that in the green room because Daniel is worked to the bone at a law firm, and because he stays busy in the comic book world. Like he's always got these new projects he's working on, and now he's talking about writing a play, and I was like, man, like I remember when I was working 9 hours or so a day, right, and just how draining it was and how hard it was to stay on top of Blake's Buzz, let alone like, oh, let's tell stories, let's publish comic books, let's do all this. So wildly impressive. I just think kudos to you and your work ethic. What's up, Lauren? Thank you so much for tuning in. We got J. Michael Miller. What's up? Hey, got some pre-orders for American Dreams. That's awesome. I did want to ask, I think a lot of us feel the same way about that. I don't think any of us thought that those trailers would be so good, but also many of us our age, like, how are we going to see Michael Keaton in the Batcal again and not get excited?
I mean, it's impossible when that film came out, so.
I know, right? And then, what's up, Squirrel Kitty? Thanks for tuning in. That's so, thank you. Also, we got some people. And remember, hashtag Jake Gold. I'm going to give away some Band of Bards comics, but you got to put that hashtag in so that we know how to pick you. So remember to tune in, you're already tuned in. Remember to type hashtag Jake Gold and get a chance to win that giveaway. But yeah, so it's interesting. This how much we celebrate comics, but we don't really celebrate the cultures and the icons and it's a lot of ignorance too. I think a lot of people don't know.
Well, I think it's all of it's unfortunately societal anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to the beginning of comics, because that was was very much like, oh, you're like a lot of people were working in comics because they couldn't get work elsewhere. They couldn't get into fine arts schools because they were Jewish. They couldn't get like advertising jobs because they were Jewish. So they're stuck basically in, let's say, like sweatshops, essentially doing pencil ink. To paraphrase a golden age artist in one of those in a documentary that you can find called Superheroes. I think you find it's a 3-part like PBS documentary. I digress. It was really funny because a lot of the publishers were also Jewish. But they came out of the pulps. Again, not so desirable business, especially since there was like some kosher going on. Like I think at least the guys who took over DC from the Major were probably slightly mopped up, to be quite honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like a lot of them used pen names because they didn't want to have an overly Jewish pen name.
Oh, wow.
In our book, like Stan Lee, he's Stanley Lieber. He didn't want Stanley Lieber on comics.
Yeah.
So it was Stan Lee because he wanted to write the Great American Novel, as he would say. Jack Kirby's really Jack or Yaakov, I believe. Kurtzberg.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I remember learning about that and just how sad it was to like not only having to like like suppress who you are and then to have to like change your whole name to like alter your identity in fear of like not finding the success that you deserve or not being taken seriously in these fields. And there's also another element too that I really dug that you bring up in American Dreams is how like, in this 1900s New York, and when they are working in sweatshops, right? And life is hard for these people, and they're just getting by, and how your dreams get chastised, right? And it's like Jake has to he has to hide drawing, and because his the family's like, what are you gonna do with this skill? Like you need to go work. You can't be drawing. You have to work. Like you need to save your energy to go work for pennies in this sweatshop for these rich assholes. And that was kind of heartbreaking too. And at the same time, I get it, right? Because it's a lot of times chasing your dreams is expensive. Typically, there's a cost. There's a cost to it, both like emotionally, physically, and monetarily. And so like, when you're living in these types of like low income households, it is crazy or it can seem crazy to have these big dreams. But like, did it ever? You're very vocal about your political beliefs online and stuff. And I love that about you. I love that you're just unafraid to say what you want to say and just, be who you are and yell at the assholes. Right. Cause, I think more people need to be like that. I think it's a weird line to walk too. But I think you're walking it correctly. And not only are you walking it, you're like producing this narrative and now you have it found an audience. Now it's finding a bigger audience. And so you have a platform now, right? And you have a superhero that is echoing, your political thoughts, but like, in terms of the everydayness of anti-Semitism, because it's something that like as a society, we just can't shrug off, just like blatant racism. It's just like, it's like in human DNA to hate each other for superficial, stupid fucking reasons. We can't change. But like, when you're dealing with that every day and then you're going into the past in history and you're writing this narrative and you're having to use language that's offensive to get the point across, right? Did it ever like kind of fuck with your head a little bit where you're like, you're in your own space, you're telling your own story and you have to deal with this hatred in that narrative. And then you leave that and you go 130 years or so into the future to the present and you're still having to deal with that. Like, did it ever weigh on you?
It's subtler now, and it's because it's not so overt. Because if it's overt, it's obvious. But now we have, like, for example, in New York City, they passed a resolution condemning anti-Semitism, but 6 people voted no. Well, 2 voted no, 4 abstained, and they came up with all these goalpost moving bullshit to explain their no or their abstention or why they abstained. It's like, why? Why are we the only group, it seems, that you can't just say, no, we will, anti-Semitism is wrong? Why do you have to make it conditional?
Yeah.
And it's subtler now. It's still atrocious. It's still out there, but it's more subtle. I mean, it's just like assholes, knocking a poor Orthodox Jewish guy to the ground in like Crown Heights or Williamsburg.
Mhm.
It's subtler because once it's really overt, more people are going to fight back.
Doesn't that make it kind of scarier though? Oh, it's not as in your face. It's subtle. It's subtle
so much more
racism, but
scary.
that's like a slow pollution of society, right? It's
It's
like we don't see it all the time, so we don't fight it. We don't pay attention to it, and then little by little it gets stronger and it gets stronger, and it turns into this bigger power, which is like what happened historically in other countries, right? Where and then shit got real bad. So it's just like the subtle racism is, and I've heard that term before, right? And so I get it. Oh, I don't get it. I know why they're saying it, but it's almost like it's just like it's like they can control what we perceive, and unless you're like actively affected by it, you don't necessarily see it. And so it's in a sense it's not real to a large part of the population, even though it very much is, right? Like that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's like because a lot of people are like, if it doesn't happen to them, it's not their problem.
It doesn't happen at all. Yeah, exactly.
But like as I said to you, like behind in the show as we're talking, it's like all these anti-LGBTQ laws coming up right now.
Mhm.
It's like I'm like, we saw this in the 30s and 40s in Germany. We saw this being targeted against my people, the Jews, to dehumanize us. So within a few years, we're being put into death camps.
Yeah.
And now they're repeating the same history now with LGBTQ people. And it's all the same rhetoric, which is even more terrifying.
So what? I'm obviously like it's a big problem, right? But when do you? I'm going to ask you like an impossible question right now, bro. This is like where I'm headed. I'm trying to word it in a not impossible way, but like when you set out to do American Dreams, right? Like, I mean, obviously you're obviously a nerd. You love comics. You wanted to tell a superhero story too, right?
Yeah.
But you're adding a lot to it, and you're reminding your audience, right, that the Jewish people have been treated poorly for a long, long, long time. Yeah. And it's sad that it's not changing. And so like when you're writing these comics, when you're scripting it out, like, I mean, does that remain like a goal? Like or almost like a narrative device while you're writing this? Is
definitely
it
a narrative device? It's definitely something that's in the background. Like Arc 2, we're trying to make it more multicultural because my late editor, LaShawn Colvin, literally came to me on a podcast where she was a guest too. She's like, Daniel, you don't have that many black characters. You don't have that many Asian characters in your series yet. When are we going to have more black characters? Because she was herself was a black woman. Mm-hmm. I'm like, LaShawn, right. So Arc 2, then I was writing Arc 2. I moved to Arc 3. And I started writing a whole new Arc 2. So we're going to have some new diverse characters starting Arc 2. So that's going to be more in the front. But so showing a lot of these groups are going for the same thing. So it's not just Jews are having this experience, blacks are having this experience, Asians are having this experience. And there's like just all of it's also how people can turn on each other in a dime, like that moment of fear kicks in. That's all that what Arc 2 is about. So
it sounds like it's going to get even scarier. And speaking of scary, one of the things that to lighten the mood just a little bit, but I really. And it surprised me again when I was like rereading, prepping to talk to you, and like prepping for like the review and stuff over the last couple weeks. But like the bringing in the like eldritch, like when the sky tears open and the tentacles start coming out and like this like I hate calling it like Lovecraftian because he was a racist asshole too, but I mean that's where it came from, right? And
he was a racist, anti-Semite, sexist SOB. Who hated New York when he lived here, who did he marry? A New York Jewish woman.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. I can't believe he even ever married a woman because I don't think he liked women that much either. I don't think he really liked
I think she basically described him as basically akin to an incel. She was married to him. It's amazing because Lovecraft is very patrician, New England, Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yeah.
And, rule, Britannia. he was an utter asshole.
Yeah.
For example, the story is a story I have a love-hate relationship, which is the Terror at Red Hook. I love it because it mentions things even in my neighborhood. Because it takes place in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It mentions the old Dutch church on Church Avenue in Flatbush. It's not too far from me. It's like maybe a mile north of me. It's like one of the oldest structures in Brooklyn. It's an old Dutch church. It's still has a standing congregation, and it's really old cemetery in the middle of Flatbush. Except it's also a horribly, horribly racist story because when he was in Brooklyn, he did not like being around people who weren't white Protestants.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so the idea of this multicultural, melting pot of which New York was and Brooklyn was, and still is, terrified the frick out of the
I bet, yeah. I bet that was horrifying for him.
Like, he's living in Brooklyn Heights. He's not exactly living in, he's living in still a very Tony part of town for most of his life in Brooklyn before before his wife divorced him and he went to go to a rooming house before going back to Providence. But like,
so you know a shit ton about this. Like, yeah,
I do a lot of reading.
I took a Lovecraftian grad course, I took a horror literature grad course and we talked about Lovecraft a little bit. It wasn't all Lovecraft, but I mean, even like. Oh man, you're like sweeping me off my feet right now. I'm like, dude, you're like.
There might be a reason for that. I might sneak in Kid Love HP somewhere in Arc 2. Just to give an idea, because we are using his notion of creation, which is Cthulhu, as a overarching, threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going several publishers ago, they said, "Oh, why don't you do this big, massive, as many issues as you want?" Origin arc. I was like, okay, this is cool. I have a cool prologue idea. I can eventually have this giant fight in a location I will not discuss because I want to eventually do that in the series as it is. And then we moved publishers and they're like, nope, you have to cut it down. I'm like, they said, oh, you have to cut it down to 4. I'm like, I'll give you 5. The origin, so I shorten the origin a lot.
I think it works like pacing wise. Like I do think it works. And then like, at the first issue when people get powers, there's like that great, gang brawl fight scene, but then like it kind of blows up with the powers. And then we see, like I said, we see the sky open up. I love it. And then in issue 2, I don't want to spoil it for people because issue 2 is not out yet. I know not everybody participated in the Kickstarter because not everybody was real fans like me, but we're getting there. We still love you. Like we're glad you got the chance to read it. But at the end of issue 2, there's another eldritch thing that happens when we meet our villain, when we meet when a new villain who shows up and so like so that I like that. Because it's bigger, right? And I think you needed it. I think you needed something bigger and more threatening, just because we've seen superpowers versus superpowers before, right? But like superpowers tainted by eldritch horrors, we haven't seen a lot of that. And you're doing so many fresh things with American Dreams, right? Just because of the time period, the culture, all these, it sticks out in superhero narratives, right? It's just it feels different, and you have a great control over it. And I really appreciate that control in your level of writing. And I'm glad that other people are seeing that now too. But it's very smart moves that you take that I don't know that I hope people notice, but people may just really enjoy it and may not really be able to pick apart these little elements that you bring in to really make this stand out as a cape drama, because it's hard to do that. There's so much cape drama. And now even in the indie world, like back in the day, or not like back in the day, but like a couple years ago, like, a lot of people were like, don't bring your superhero stuff to Kickstarter. It's not going to do well there. If people want superhero shit, they're going to go to Marvel. They're going to go to DC.
Decently on Kickstarter.
Well, yeah, like that's beginning to change now. Like we're seeing more and more of that. And you're doing more and more of that, right? You've done Night Wrath, which is like this cool mixture of like Spawn and the Max and just like very like visceral and mean and moody and violent. And then you've got Rook and Knight, which I'll put the link here. Rook and Knight, ladies and gentlemen, is the one that you can get signed up for. Come on, computer. All right, so yeah, it's in the links in the comments, everybody. But and speaking of comments, hashtag Jake Gold. You can get some free Band of Bards comics if anybody wants to enter. I know we got people here, people chatting, people in the chat. I got too many fucking international viewers, man. I gotta get someone to like fund these international package shippings or something that I can start including the rest of the world in the giveaways, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, get signed up for Rook and Knight because I got to read about 25 pages of it, and it's very.
I bet you the full first issue.
I was wondering. I didn't know because it said a sampler, so I didn't know if it was going to be like a big one shot of like if like.
Oh no! I think I just labeled that just to make it for my own organization, just different from the eventual completed version.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great and notes and everything.
I dug it, man. I'm excited. And now are these obviously, and we see that in Rook and Knight, like it's connected to American Dreams. Is Wrath connected?
Wrath is connected.
It is all. So you're building a superhero universe. You're not just telling superhero stories. You're building a connected universe, being crowdfunded on Kickstarter, and you keep finding success. I mean, I have no doubt like Rook and Knight's going to do well. You have like your Kickstarter following now. Like I feel like people know you, and they know your storytelling, and they know you got a knack for this, right? Yeah. So like. Dude, did anyone tell you not to do that? Was anybody like, Daniel, slow your roll, man, or were they like?
I think part of my brain is like, okay, you need to slow down some way. You have to figure out. It was more like a prioritization system more than anything else, or how things are done. But it's like I'm not going to do like the whole brand new number one. This connects to this. This connects to this. It's like I'm trying to build more organically and just draw more as I think I kind of like a mosaic and tapestry versus a straight, I mean, a crossover is planned. I wrote the first issue of a crossover that someone's drawing right now. But that's that could be done. I'm not even going to put that on to Kickstarter until after Night Wrath Arc 1 is done.
Okay.
Because you'll see. It's going to be it's a fun little story that's also going to expand things and might bring back some familiar faces. You might see some new faces.
That's so cool. That's very exciting. Because I think, I'm going to be after this show later tonight, I'm co-hosting Explain Yourself with Kevin Joseph. And, he does Tart, and his 15th issue of Tart is on Kickstarter right now, which is also like a huge achievement. And our friend Travis Gibb, like Travis does tons of Kickstarter work too, but he's got numerous series. And so like these, and they don't, a lot of them don't really necessarily tie together, right? He's just got all these stories that he needs to tell. Whereas like, but yeah, you've got this big number of issues planned for these sequential series that are going to come together and cross over with each other. Rook and Knight, we get this like, there's very much love. A love letter and a critique simultaneously to DC Comics. I feel like
I'll say this: I'm a big fan of DC. This is more my. Rook and Knight actually was originally something completely different.
Okay,
it was supposed to be more of a kind of like a darker look, ultimately a more supportive look about darker, get more supportive look about teenage heroes. And then I'm like, I don't know if this is the right story.
Okay, because it feels like The Boys.
I focused solely on Rook and Knight.
Okay.
And
here we go. Look at you bringing the fans in. What's up, James? The Kalban verse. I like that. Are you still thinking of changing your imprint name?
I'm debating. It's still going to be on the studios for a bit, but I'm thinking of just giving it like to separate Libertyverse books from non-Libertyverse, just have like a Libertyverse kind of little banner on it. And that I think we're going to first start with that with Rook and Knight just to help differentiate things. But like it's more of a critique. I think it's slightly more like toxic familial relationships.
Yeah.
And toxic masculinity, as you might have saw for one of the characters.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's supposed to be about, in the end, it's going to be a story of, bonds breaking and then reforging.
Okay.
Hopefully stronger than ever. But you have to go down before you go back up.
Because, it really reminded me of Ennis's Boys. Like, not in like the sleazy, sexy, gross element that he often paints the superheroes in. But when we meet that Batman and Robin type character, they're way more violent and they're a little they're not as in control of each other,
Right.
and we see that in this preview issue, right? Especially the final part of this new issue, and like it's very violent, and they're both out of control, and they're like there needs to be like a rekindling of and this father and son team is not meshing well
Oh no,
anymore.
like the Well-oiled machine is breaking down.
Yeah. Which is all like, and I love that. I love that too. Geek Collector says it reminds him of Grayson, Batman, and Damian. I mean, that's so now you're like Grant Morrison now. How's that feel?
Let's shave my head off.
Gotta shave your head and buy a castle.
Yeah.
With that Kickstarter money.
They had an entire bowl of hashish in Kathmandu, apparently. Have you read their memoir, Grant Morrison's memoir?
No, I want to. I haven't read his new novel either. I'm behind in everything.
Well, I've read Morrison's memoir, Super Gods, a number of times. There's a point where I use he and they alternately. I know they prefer they. Well,
they now, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a recent.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it used to not, but yeah, now,
yeah, but well, if
I fuck up pronouns all the time, and I try so hard, and I'm just like I think everybody knows I'm not that guy. I just like I forget names, I forget pronouns, and I forget everything because all I do is read fucking comic books all day, and I just like, and I forget those too. My 8 years spending in the bar partying, I've fucked up my brain a little bit. I guess I'm just a bumbling fool. That's why I ramble so much, guys. I'm just a mess. So please forgive me.
Well, Morrison is, it's a great because it's also a history of comics and their idea of that history. But what is the whole thing about the trip in Kathmandu, where they're basically tripping balls on a giant ball of hashish?
Wow.
I'm like, can we get back to this real stuff? I don't want to read this part. This is thing. I mean, it's interesting, just not ass.
Yeah. See, that's the shit that I would get excited for. They're supposed. I used to be really into Philip K. Dick, right? And I still am. I think I love his work, and it's there. Not many writers have had like so many short stories and novels like adapted and continue to be adapted like long after he's passed, right?
Yeah.
So like, but there's supposedly this story that he wrote in a journal where he saw this like magenta light in the sky, and he stared at it for a really long time, and he wrote it was unnatural. It was magenta and pinkish, like this kind of hue, but it was like a foreign, like it wasn't quite magenta, wasn't quite pink. It didn't feel right to him. And he stared at it and he watched it, and he had all these like weird experiences and thoughts, and he journaled about it. Mm-hmm. And it was after that his stories started getting picked up, and like his new writings started getting published as short stories, and we like then Minority Report, To Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, these things like are now huge Hollywood movies and stuff now, right? So he had this like supposedly alien experience, and then it changed him, and he was able to like write differently. And so I've heard Grant's story is like akin to that in certain ways, where I didn't necessarily know about the giant ball of hash, but I knew he enjoyed partying, and I knew that he held substances in that regard of like, like they are an eye-opening experience. They can take you to new places and make you think in new ways. So that's super interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the answer is we all gotta get a giant ball of hash and then sit outside and look for lights in the sky, and then we can all be great writers like Daniel. That's one way to do it. If you guys don't want to just, like hack out scripts and hustle,
No, I'm still typing up scripts and hustling because I'm really teetotal. But it's like it's a little. I think, as I said, the characters are a little darker than I like, even compared to American Dream. They're darker, even compared to Nightmare. They're a little darker.
Yeah,
It's trying to have a little bit of humor, a little bit of light to it, just to cut the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a great the scene I wrote for that when they're in their house the morning after their patrol. I thought it would be a little more lighthearted. Again, showing the friction, but then a little bit of a humorous punch.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta switch it up. I mean, great genre fiction is. I say this about horror, but it's great genre fiction, and superheroes is a genre. But like you gotta bring in different. You gotta make us feel lust and passion. You got to make us feel tension and fear, and then you got to make us feel lighter and laugh every now and then. And like when you can control your audience's mood that way, it really can bring about a stronger narrative. So like, yeah, you can't just stay in one place. Like a boxer, you always got to be like shuffling light on your feet. You gotta utilize the mat and distance between your opponent, but think about that as like utilize this world you've built and the script and the distance and relationship you have with your audience and your characters. And I feel like you're very good at that.
Yeah.
Because even though you get heavy a lot, right? And it goes there, and it needs to go there, and I love that you're unafraid to go there. But you also, like, even in the over the top like 90s action, sometimes it's just like it sometimes seems a little silly, even though it's not. Even like it's this like over the top element, but it doesn't take you out of the story at all. It's just like the size of Night Wrath, right? Like 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 this super soldier serum story. Like we saw what it did to Steve Rogers. It turned him into sexy Steve Rogers, right? But like this super soldier serum he's a monster. He's like the Hulk. He's huge, and he's gross, and he's mean, and he's got this like mean purple suit and these glowing creepy ass eyes, and it's just like, and he's just like, he's in these alleyways beating the shit out of thugs, like scaring the people that he's trying to protect, right? Like I love that. And I remember, are you still looking for a new artist? Didn't you like lose your original artist?
I didn't technically lose him because he's still co-creating. He's still consulting the new artist. We'll
Okay.
reveal who that is when we're ready to do that, because we did find a new artist. But Gabe Santos Escobar, for those of you who might know him by that name, he got this little project with Blade of all people. Yeah, it was like starting to spoke about these snipes over what publishing.
Yeah.
And that's taking up all his time. And
Yeah.
at one point, I'm like, do we want to get like a fill in because we don't know when you're back? It's like, no. It's my baby. I'll, be back soon enough. And then like 3 months later, a couple months later, he's like, hey, I think we need a fill in. Take over for me, basically, because I'm swamped. I'm like,
I'm glad it was amicable. I didn't know why. I didn't know if it just like they didn't want to work on it anymore. Or they couldn't work on it
he's just
anymore.
swamped.
Okay, that's cool.
He's swamped. But like he still loves Night Raft. I commissioned him to do a new Night Raft drawing for me, and he says it's great. We should use it as like a cover at one point. I'm like,
nice.
What am I made? So he'll still, he's still consulting with our new artist, who's really great too. But we're not quite ready to announce who that is yet.
Okay.
They have it on a page though, which looks great.
That's cool. I'm glad. I'm glad he's staying to work and help out too. It's a very cool book. And you're still, so like when Rook and Knight goes live, which I know you're still kind of balancing that out too on when
it's definitely going to be early July. We're still debating is it going to be the 1st or the 4th. We're still debating.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I'm just going to pop this up right now and just remind people the link is in the comments, right? So like get signed up right now. We got 21 followers. This thing needs like 300 followers. Like it deserves it. It's going to be great. Daniel really has a great knack for superheroes, and we all need to appreciate him before like one of the bigger companies like sweeps him away and he becomes too cool to talk to any of us, because that's where he's headed. He's headed for big things, I feel like. And I don't just say that about anybody. I wish I could. I wish that level of talent was like all over Kickstarter in the indie comics world, but unfortunately it's not. But there is tons of talent, and Daniel works really hard, and he's got a ton of stories like just ready to be told. And I feel like once people really start seeing the superhero scripts he's dropping, like a matter of time before bigger and better things happen. But yeah, this deserves, long story short, this deserves more than 21 followers. Get signed up for this so that whether he goes live July 1st, 4th, or whatever, you're ready to go. You're going to get those emails. You're going to know, and you're going to be ready. Maybe get an early bird special. Who knows?
The early bird specials planned.
Nice. Now, do you, are you going to, I know you probably don't have, I know back physical issues are kind of a rare commodity with Kickstarters, but like, I mean, you offer like the digitals as add-ons, right? So like if people get like Rook and Knight, will you be able to, are you going to offer like American Dreams digitals and Night Wrath digitals?
I have them as add-ons if they want them.
I don't know if you could do that anymore with it being in the direct market.
So package deals, so if you get all 3 digitally.
Nice. That's
or
cool.
all 3 physically if you want. And I also, if you get a physical, you have a complimentary digital copy.
Okay. So Bards will let you still sell American Dreams like through Kickstarter, like even with it
Oh yeah, because I'm going to get copies from them.
Okay. Now what made you go? I wanted to ask this earlier. We got sidetracked so like 2 comes out into May,
right?
May 30th, I believe.
Yeah.
And then issue 3 can be pre-ordered right now. You can also
issue 3 just ended pre-orders as of.
Oh, it did. But you can go to the Band of Bards website.
Yeah,
you can go to the Bard shop and pre-order them though. Yeah, but not through Diamond. But so you can get 1 through 3 can still be pre-ordered from Band of Bards because they put in an order for more number 1 issues to take to cons and stuff. But they're also going to fulfill their shop orders with that. Anyway,
right.
But what made you guys want to combine the 3rd and 4th, or the 4th and 5th issue instead of just doing the 5 issues? We're doing the 1, 2, 3, and then the big double size finale. Like what was that thought process?
That was actually more a Band of Bards decision, but I like it because 4 and 5, as originally written before they came issue 4, was written originally as a 2-part finale, anyways.
Okay.
2-part season finale, anyways. So let's just streamline that. So they had that beautiful Philhound cover. So
yeah, I love the new covers. And the what is it? The issue 3 is Alex Moore, right?
Yeah. Who just got a big thing with, I think, Steve Orlando over somewhere, right?
Yeah, she's got they've got a lot of stuff going on. They were on the show with David Hazan a week or so ago, and it was like her and David have been doing shows for Death Drop Drag Assassin, right?
That's the one.
And they keep switching it up, like who gets the shitty time and who gets because they're like Alex is in the UK and David's in Australia, and so like when they interviewed me, like we went live at 9 and it was 3 a.m. Alex's time, and then it was like 10 or 11 or in the morning David's time. So they keep switching off like who gets the shitty time slot so they can like do all these interviews. It was funny. But Alex was like ready to go, like drinking coffee, was like just like excited. And I was like, you woke up at 2:00 in the morning to come on Blake's Buzz. Like, God bless you. Like that's it's crazy. But
Alex actually posted on her Twitter like the concepts that she proposed.
Yeah, I saw that. They put those on their
those were like really cool.
Too.
Like I didn't see them until then. So I was like,
oh really?
Yeah.
I would have thought those would have went to you and you got to like.
Some of them I approved, some of them Band of Bards approved. So it's like,
okay.
So we guys with the difference.
Okay. How did you get connected with Band of Bards? Like, because this is an interesting. I know a lot of creators watch my show, and a lot of new time Kickstarter people watch my show, and so like when you have a successful Kickstarter and all 5 issues are out, trade comes out. It's fulfilled. You've done your job. But now you have like this book that's done and can be reprinted with new covers with a different brand on it, right? And you can start pitching it around. Did you pitch it around to several places, or were you like did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Like how'd that happen?
Kind of long story of how it all happened. So first we have to go back to like 2020, 2021. I hear about Band of Bards. I pitched them this fantasy idea I had, which actually I started writing as a novel relatively recently because I thought it was just too good an idea to go to waste. And they liked it, but like I said, we'll reach out to you because you don't have like an artist or anything on board. So cut to last July, early August. So end of July, early August. I'm at Terrificon in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. I'm actually going back there this year because it's becoming a Lucky Charm show. My buddy Reese from the UK came over from the UK to help, partly because he's on vacation, probably because he wanted to help me out to go to a con the United States for the first time and meet Kevin Conroy, which he got to, which is unfortunately the only time he'll ever meet Kevin Conroy. I didn't get to meet Kevin myself, but Kevin walked by my table and they're like, "Hi, Mr. Conroy." But I digress. So I think this is the Saturday at the console. My buddy Reese is to my left. To the table to my right are my buddies Kat Kelmy and Phil Falco from The Fellow Like Daughter, The Call of the Dancer, The Herology, a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just, killing a little time. I'm having a nice sales day, so I decided to check my phone because I see emails or something. I've just been doing the Square Reader thing all day. So I'm like, let me see what's going on. I see a thing from Tim. It's like, it says American Dreams. Now, please note, at the time I was doing this convention, it was also towards the end of the American Dreams Kickstarter for Volume 1. And I get from Tim, and I open it up. It's like, it basically comes up. It's like, hey, do you want us to publish American Dreams? And I go like silent. Like I usually can talk a clip at a con with my friends and with sales. I go stone cold silent. There's levels of silence. There's silent, and then there's shock.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" And I show him the email. I'm like, and then I turn to Kat like, "Kat?" And she's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "So like what?" Reese's like, "What are you gonna say?" I'm like, so I really think type back. I'd love to. I can't discuss it right now. I'm at a convention. I'll get you when I get back. A few weeks later, we had the contract finalized and whoop, done.
That's all. Wow. So they that's usually not the case. Like, I mean, usually you're pitching to like several people and like, sending query letters out and all that fun, stressful shit. So that's all, dude, that's so cool. Like, good for you. They just saw it,
it's like literally a 1 in a million thing chance. It's really rare for that to happen. In contrast, I pitched something because it was art by Doty and inks by Tebby, and we got someone else to do colors because I want to work with this other colors for a pitch. And Matt Bowers, who is our letter marketing to the letters and everything. I sent it out. I only heard back from one publisher for this pitch for a totally different project. I was like, yeah. And that's the thing about pitches that people need to realize. It's not it's not the rejections that hurt or are painful or frustrating. It's the silence.
Yeah.
Which is also apparently a rejection, but it's like, I like to get the rejection letter because that's a sign of like they care enough to say, "Well, as we're back." It's the silence. But they say, if you don't hear from us in X months, it's
Yeah, I don't like that either. Because I remember the days, right, when I was writing, when I was writing like short stories and poetry, and when we had to send shit, and you didn't send stuff digitally yet. It started like later, but like initially, like you had to do, like if I was submitting poems or a short story, you had to print that out. You had to send it with a self-addressed stamped envelope. And then the publications, like literary magazines and stuff, would like use that self-addressed stamped envelope to send you a rejection letter. And a lot of times they were formal rejection letters, right? But every now and then, like the editor would write a note on it. And like, I wrote to like the Paris Review, which is like a Missouri publication. It's like a big lit mag, and they wrote like they were like, hey, this is a good selection of poetry, but not for us and not right now. And so like I was starting to get what they call positive rejections, but I got burned out, and then I quit submitting, and then I quit writing entirely, and then I was at the bar, I was drinking a lot, and I was being stupid, and then now like it finally, like when I launched Blake's Buzz, like I started getting that itch to write again. I started writing reviews, right? Now I want to write, like I'm starting to get like story ideas, but unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, like it's such a bummer when you realize what comic book making costs. And like, you usually have to put money out there up front. Sometimes you can work out a deal where it's like, whatever the Kickstarter funds and stuff. But I mean, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure you're or have paid some of your co-creators like out of pocket before campaigns and stuff.
Like I'll ask someone. Sometimes if it's okay to do it all the Pixar, like they'll be like yes or no. Thankfully, a lot of people so far said yes. Other people, I pay out of pocket. Like today, like a couple $100 of a couple hundred to a few $100 out of my paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and you gotta, right? You gotta pay for good work. But it like page rates are real and they are expensive. We got Promiscuous Time Traveler in the house. We finally got a couple submissions, comics I'm trying to give away. Thank God. This is crazy. Like I love free comics. Doesn't everybody like free comics? Hashtag Jake Gold. But yeah, Buzz, always happy to have you. We got my co-host Lions got a quarterback. I saw that. He asked me earlier. He was like, Blake, why aren't you at the draft? Because the draft's in Kansas City this weekend. I was like, dude, I'm still kind of technically unemployed. Like I'm working for Invader as a publicist, but it's like it's not full-time money, and I haven't gotten paid yet. So like I don't have like go downtown to the draft and party money, unfortunately. And then he goes, dude, you're press. And I was like, not for the fucking NFL. Like I wish I could go down there and swing my dick around and be like, let me in for free. I'll cover this. He wants me to write a poem about our friendship. Maybe one day. I think to go there, I do think you had to buy a ticket. I'm not sure though. There was like, unless you wanted to like stand outside and be weird, but if you like really wanted to go to like Union Station and like be a part of it, I'm pretty sure that costs money. But I didn't really look into it because I just
I mean, New York Comic Con charges.
Everything.
Pro passes.
Nothing's fucking free anymore, right?
Freedom
isn't free. Costs $1.05.
New York Comic Con actually just upped their ticket prices, so I'm like,
oh,
really? I'm getting a pro pass.
What's that costing now?
$70-something, including fees.
Is that for the whole weekend?
No, that's for a day.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's for just a regular fan day pass. Like last year, I got a pro pass for like $100 and plus fees, plus tax, plus shipping. So.
Okay. Now, when you get those, like you have to apply for those, right? Like you have to apply and then pay money.
Yeah,
right?
Because you only have a set. Yeah, and like I've also had to hopefully get our Stanley table in New York Comic Con. Knock on wood. Because I've been trying. A lot, and it's like no thanks. Like I had to see 2E2 in 2021. I didn't get into it this year, so I'm like,
weird.
Why?
See, I feel like you should once you get in, unless you like go there and fuck up and like everybody hates you or you like do something bad, like you should be like okay to go back the next year. I feel like
the friend pointed out to me basically it's like they have a finite number of tables. By the time it gets to you, the smaller time creator. It's been taken up by like the big names,
okay,
the big like collectives like Comic Sketch Art, the people from the country because they want that kind of draw. By the time it gets to you, it's curated and it's a much smaller pool.
I gotcha. Well, Strider Nolan's in the house. Thanks for tuning in. Blake's Buzz is still free for now.
I will say the Artist Alley in New York Comic Con is great. It's huge. Problem is in the basement of the Javits. So air gets a little thin after a while. And I was wearing a mask last year for the most part. Just be COVID conscious because it had quite noticed after where it is now in New York. But like it was low, but not like low enough to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna be masked. It's like so many because they still had a mask. Technically had a mask suggestion after people freaked out after they had a mask mandate, and they really didn't. But I wore a mask.
Okay.
And like I would, take it off every so often to get, breath of air. And like around, I'd say like 2 o'clock on a Friday and Saturday, it's like, because it's not just it's not the mask that is suffocating you. Every time I had to take it off just so my face could breathe. That was really it. Not so much the air intake of me breathing; it was my face feeling like I was dying. Not my lungs, my face. But it's like I'm like, is he no food in here? Because it kind of have all these people in this smallish space in a basement in a convention center. So it's a lot easier to get to it because when I was a kid, my dad used to take me to stamp shows over at the Javits, and that was before they put in the new 7th Stop.
Okay.
So we would get off either at Herald Square or Penn Station and walk. It could be like 3 or 4 long blocks. And I was a small kid, so I'm like, Are we there yet? No, there's the 7 train you can just take from Grant from like you. I can take the 7 train from Times Square. Take the train from my house, transfer to Times Square for 7. Gets me right off at the Jets.
Nice. Yeah, the part of me wanted, even because when I did Planet, so I had a press pass, but like my dad's retired, so I made my dad like drop me off and pick me up. And it was great. Like I didn't have to pay an Uber, and he like dropped me off right at the door, picked me up right at the door. Like it was perfect.
So
And
I went home once from New York Comic Con because this is before I had a pro pass. This was I had a fan badge. I had really bag full of books, and this is Saturday afternoon. I get up to the street level, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm not going to go onto this train. I just can't move."
Yeah, there a lot of the cool hotels and stuff around Planet Comic Con. Like they did a lot of like after hour drinking stuff and like had like cosplay contests and like weird like elf fantasy balls and stuff like like dancing balls, not like bouncy balls.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted like, I don't know, like next year I'd kind of like to do more of that, but it would almost be cool. So when I was a kid, like we weren't like poor, but one of the things that we did as a kid and I didn't go to a lot of vacations, right? Like I never got to go to Disneyland or anything like that, but I got hooked up. Like I had new video game consoles, that like I got like Sega Genesis when they came out and I got a PlayStation when it came. So like we weren't hurting, but we just didn't do big vacations. And so like what my parents would do, like with my sister and I, they would like, we'd each invite like a friend and we'd go stay at like a hotel somewhere, right? Like with a hotel with an indoor pool and an arcade or whatever, like when we were kids, and stay there for a night, like have like either get like a pizza or go out to eat somewhere. Like we would do that every now and then. And I thought, I was like, man, that would be cool to like get a hotel room downtown this would be way more expensive than like than the nothing that I paid, right, for my dad to take me and for the press pass. But I was like, to stay at one of the hotels and then like, be able to like bar hop and stuff down there and like walking distance from the con and shit like that. Like I thought that would be cool. But yeah, anyways, like it all gets very expensive, like especially when the closer you get to these conventions, like
which I have
try and get a room.
I don't drive, so I have to be as close as possible. What was really funny is I was at this Baltimore last year, and it was just the night of the Ringos. I was staying in the same hotel as the Ringos, but I wasn't going because for 2 reasons. One, not nominated, so no reason to go. 2, I was having this crab cake. Crab I don't keep kosher because crab is not kosher, but I don't keep kosher.
Okay.
I just don't like seafood, so I have no interest.
See, I eat crab cakes till I puke and then go back and eat more crab cakes. I love them. Love them so much.
So I was getting to like a get together with just fellow creators at like the hotel bar / grill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a rotating cast of people coming in and out throughout the night. Like Jose Luis Garcia Lopez sat down with us for a short bit.
Cool.
I thought it was fun. And then New York Comic Con there used to be, I think last year was the last year because the bar decided to close. This was a bar my dad used to go to for grab lunch when he worked down there. It was basically a creators meetup at New York Comic Con, just to sit back, relax, have a drink and food and eat. Though I would have like ginger or Coke or something. You know me, I don't drink alcohol. For 2 reasons: I just have no interest, and I have a liver issue from a bad diet in college. So
that's cool because I know a lot of people that do have issues like that and still drink because it's insane. I do like to partake, but I've lost like 2 friends from the industry when I spent 7 years working at a bar, like for like liver issues but they wouldn't stop. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like, I guess I did the kind of same things. I used to not care about my diabetes until like it got scary. And then I was like, shit, I guess I don't want to go blind or die or both. I would be so fucked if I went blind. Like, what would I do? Like, I'm like, I can't read comic books anymore. Like, you're like, there goes Blake's butt. Like, I mean, I guess I can still talk to people, but like, anyways. So I'm glad you went health conscious. Like it's good. It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. But it's just fun just to do these little out of, things to do. Like I got to do a couple fun things just because of Discord groups I'm in.
Yeah.
Because for tables like near Comic-Con, the things I could do because I wasn't tabling, I could do like something really fun with friends, before the con and after the con. Like one year, I'm not going to say what I did last year because I did something that might be sound too braggadocious, so I'm not going to do what I did. Though some people know what I did. But the year DC Universe launched, they had a pop-up not far from the Java Center. They had you had to walk up a couple flights of steps. Basically, they had a apartment, for lack of a better term, full of food, so you could go there for breakfast.
Nice.
You answer trivia and get prizes. I got a whole Harley Quinn pin set.
Nice.
Because I knew the answer from DC Universe Online because I used to play it obsessively in college. So I still had that knowledge in the back of my brain. And watch, superhero cartoons. It was a fun way to, kill some time before the convention, and the convention was 2 blocks away.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, we didn't have anything like that. It was all after hour stuff at Kansas City, and like I said, it was all one of them was I think one of them was a Harry Potter deal, which I wouldn't have gone to anyway because that's all fucking ruined for me now. But anyway, yeah. I don't want to get into that. Cole says I should make him an admin so he can put Travis. Travis doesn't ever come to my live streams ever unless he's on them. So we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's weird how people the whole mask deal. Like
when your Comic-Con was talking about having a mask suggestion and people freaked out.
Yeah. I mean I thought about wearing one at Planet. I had them in my bag. I'll judge the room if there's a lot of people wearing them, I'll put one on, and really no one was wearing them at Planet. Not even Phil Hester wore a mask on Saturday, the busier day. Mm-hmm. But I mean, which was also kind of funny because if you're gonna not wear one on Friday, there's still thousands of people there. If there's a couple more thousand people there on Saturday, that's a big gamble if to wear a mask one day and not the other. But most people weren't wearing them, and so I didn't. And then I mean, I didn't get the con crud. I got the con back. My fucking back and shoulders killed me from carrying around all those books and my recording gear and stuff.
I have seriously reduced the amount of stuff I take to cons because I take a pro badge. I'm okay, I can't just be a fanboy. I have to present stuff. I can't just take books. But I know that whole because even with that, I have the backpack.
Yeah.
Even if it's a lot of stuff, it's still stuff.
Yeah.
I take a shorter bag with me just to have easier access to grab the books. My books to give to people along with my cards and everything.
Okay. And
then I have a shorter bag, another tote to carry stuff in. So by the end of the day, even if I'm carrying light, I'm
you have 3 bags. I think the next time I go, I saw a lot of people with the luggage, with the wheels and the handle.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking do that next time. Because you could buy some hardcovers. You could actually buy books and throw them in there. Because I talked about this last night live, but I bought a omnibus from Patrick Gleason, and I bought it at the end of the day on Sunday, so I didn't have to carry it around for long. But I couldn't get it in my back. My backpack was full, so I had to carry this giant Batman and Robin omnibus in my arms and hope that no one bumped into it and dented a corner or something. And I was just God, this sucks. It was my backpack was heavy. I got this heavy book. It was terrible.
Yeah, I think I got a heavy book or two, but I had that in the tote.
Everything's on Hoopla. What kind of comic books do you want?
I think the Brooklyn Public Library runs on Hoopla too, though. They had their own app for a while, but I think BPL, which is of course my local library, I think uses Hoopla as well for comics and whatnot.
I'm reading Money Shot on Hoopla right now to gear up for the new issue that dropped this week. Yeah, that's. Oh, and I'm about to read. I almost called it Animal Planet. Was it called Animal House from Ablaze or something like that?
Animals?
Is it just animals? Hold on. Animal Castle, and I'm reading. I have that rented on Hoopla as well. Because we're getting to the end of the month. We gotta spend those tokens. Hey, there are a handful of people in chat right now. Hashtag Jake Gold. If you want to win some free comics, in just a couple moments, I'm gonna hit that giveaway. So we got a couple entries, but if anybody else wants to join, hashtag Jake Gold. I got some Bandabards variants. There's some foil covers. It's a nice little bundle for one lucky winner. So make sure you get that entered like soon, because I'm about to hit the button. I got a couple more people coming in. Hashtag Jake Gold for the giveaway. It's free, like free comics. I don't know why the fuck aren't you people entering this? Anyway, whatever. It's fine. Try and give y'all gifts and good guests. And what do? You just ignore me. It's like high school all over again. I'm just kidding. I'll guilt them. I'll guilt them into joining the giveaway. But no, I really appreciate Band of Bards doing that. They've done it a couple times. They've sent me some. I actually thought they were just sending me books to like read and talk about, and I was like, holy shit! And then there was a note that was like, hey, like give these away on your channel, and I was like, oh, I wanted to keep them, but I was like, it ended up being cool. All right, so we got one last entry in it. All right, let's bring this up. All right, so we got this. This is the new fancy technology. All right, so we've collected that. We've got 3 whole entries. Pretty high chance to win, any of you guys who entered. And here we go. Diddly 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 do. Bouncing around. Slowing down. Mr. Cole, gonna get some Band of Bards comics to Cole. That's all right. Well, I'll be talking to him soon because we do a show. Well, we're not doing a show next week, but we do a show together. So I'll definitely get that to him. Thanks everybody for entering. I'm excited to get you those comics, Cole. They are, like I said, there's some cool exclusives. I don't even know if Cole has the Travis Gibb cover I have, so he may get a cool Coins of Judas cover that he. Nice. I was gonna show them, but I left them in the other room before we went live, so it'll be other. I posted on Twitter, so like you can see what they are. Anyways, so yeah, we gave away the comics. Daniel, we talked about your comics. I put the link out there. I really hope that you guys sign up for this new Kickstarter that's going to be launching in July. And I think I'm really excited. I got to read it, and it's violent, and it's mean, and I'm excited for this world that you're building, this superhero universe through the crowdfunding platform is super exciting. And like I said, the amount of success you're finding in the direct market, I'm so happy for you, dude. Like I feel, are you feeling good? Cause you're like me. Good. Like you're like me sometimes, where I know we get down about shit, and whereas like sometimes I've seen you be like, am I a comic creator? But do I belong here? And like and I do the same thing with like press, and so I look around and see like my metrics aren't as good as other people's, and I don't have as many.
What gets you really. It's Twitter metrics. It's like
right. It's
like
yeah, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, this is what aggravates me, right? And maybe this will make me sound like an asshole, but when people are like fuck you, Cole. What is this? I'm too loud. Turn the volume down. That's your fault, not mine. But when people are like, well, you do this because you love it. You don't do it because of the numbers. Like, how do you not look at the numbers? How do you release a podcast every week or drop a YouTube short and not look at your view count and feel a little bit of pride or a little bit of shame based on what it does? And like it's like, I don't understand people. I'd like to find someone who just ignores all that. Or like you, Daniel, like do you ignore all your numbers? Like, you're like, I don't want to know how many comics I sold. I do it because I love it, not because I'm trying to sell books. Like, that's crazy.
I actually know how many I sold versus 1 and 2, and I mean, there's always a dip, but
yeah.
I mean, that much bad of a dip, but
but anyway, like I don't understand people that say that. But yeah, anyways,
it's like it doesn't matter. It's like you're trying to do a creative endeavor. It matters.
Yeah, right. Like we want people to watch us and listen to us. All right, yeah, have fun in Chicago, and I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Travel safely. But yeah, I've kept you for over an hour, and I know it's Friday night, and I know regardless of my input, you supposedly have some adulting to do.
Oh, no, that's Sunday. I can say. All right, dishwasher's running. I'm here for a little while longer until. Well, I won't do it until my medication kicks in. I haven't taken my medication yet, so we're good. So,
well, unfortunately, I have to wrap up because I have to co-host a show after this. So I do apologize, but real quick, I want to make sure everybody knows like where what is the best place, right? Like you're still pretty active on Twitter, right? So like,
Right,
where's
but-
the best place to keep track of you and all your future nerdy goods that you got coming out?
You can find me on, well, I have a LinkedIn. You can find me on my Twitter at Daniel Kalban. You can follow it for my Facebook, my Twitter again. Instagram, which is dcalban. The American Dreams at Studios Facebook, which I need to update more. And also a link to the Band of Bards store where you can buy American Dreams.
Yes. Yeah, definitely check out the Bard Shop. And then they've also got cool merch and stuff now too, like hats, hoodies, shirts, all sorts of cool stuff. And then, yeah, you can
my Band of Bards shirts. I have to stay my shirt from work.
I keep hoping they'll like send me a hat or something. They sent me a patch, but I don't know what to put the patch on, but like, I keep kind of hoping they'll, like if you send me a shirt, I'll wear it on the show. It's free advertisement. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, it's check out, follow him on Twitter, follow him online, get signed up for his new Kickstarter. So you're ready to go. So you're ready to join the party in July. And Daniel, I'd love to, if like, you always got a place on the show, man. If you want to come back in July, if you want to, when the campaign's live, if you want to do some hype and talk about it,
Sure.
always welcome to come back. I love your show. And I really do. And I mean this with all my heart. I love your books. I think you're a talented writer, and I think you got a good heart, and you put a lot of that heart and charm into your comics. And I appreciate that, especially in today's world. I think all literature needs voices like yours that aren't afraid to, yell at people and remind them that things aren't perfect and we need to talk about it, even when it's awkward. And sometimes we don't want to talk about it. So I commend you for that, and for taking that stance and really intelligently putting that into your narrative, like in a very smart, organic way that just works absolutely flawlessly. Like American Dreams is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get it. Go to the Bard Shop, pre-order 1 through 3. You can actually pre-order 4 too now, for the 4 or 5 issue. It's worth your money. It's a great superhero comic. It's not like anything else on the shelves. Well, I guess it is now because it's on the shelf now. So I guess there's one thing like American Dreams, and it's American Dreams. But yeah, check out his stuff. Give him a follow. Again, always a pleasure to have you on, Daniel. I really appreciate you coming, and I wish you the best, man. I really do. Like I hope we have many more of these conversations in the future. I hope you keep rocking it out on Kickstarter and the direct market. Like, slay it from both sides. Get that money, all that comic money that we all dream about. Right? It's in your grasp now. Those dreams of riches and nerdiness. All right, man. Well, I will let you go. Everybody, have a great night. Love more, hate less, read comics. I will be on Explain Yourself here shortly. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing there. I'm just going to be talking and rambling like I always do. So hop over to Kevin Joseph's YouTube channel if you want to listen to me run my mouth a little bit more. And if unless Daniel has anything else to say, I'm gonna play the music and wish us all a good night.
Hey, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good weekend. Is that the right? That's the right one.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.